Okay, so I'm going to have a go at sorting out the solenoid on this automatic gearbox on the Jatco JF506E on my Golf 2.3 V5. It's changing very roughly between first, second and third. It's like you've been kicked in the pants when you change gear, and I'm taking advantage of the slope on my driveway here to get the car level, and also I can get underneath it. So probably a bit dangerous, but you know, it'll be all right, won't it? So going to show you what I do today. There's some great videos actually on YouTube of this already, but a couple of things that I couldn't see how to do were things like how to drain the oil, the fluid out of the car. So I'm going to try and do that, and let's see how it goes. So here we go. Okay, so here is my Golf V5 Jatco gearbox, and I need to firstly drain the oil out of this, and I believe it is going to be this oil drain plug here. That's the one. It's like, I don't know, a 22mm or something. I'll confirm that in a bit. So I want to just identify that, and also the oil level check drain, which I think is that one there. You see that? I think it's that one, but I'm not exactly sure. I'm going to double check that before I slacken it off. I know there's one of these somewhere which you do not touch. If you do, you lose the reversing band. I'm not entirely sure where that is. Let's see if we can find it. I've certainly seen a diagram saying somewhere, do not slacken off this one. I'm not entirely sure where it is, but anyway, here's my plan. So we've got the gearbox here. I'm going to remove the dog bone, then I'm going to drag the sticker, a lorry strap around the CV here, and just sort of pull the gearbox engine back, and then that should give me enough room at the front here to work. I suppose if I was really on it, I could take off the radiator, and that gives me a lot more room to work in the front, but I've seen it done just by sort of pulling it back, so I'm going to give that a try. So the first thing is to sort of going to get the wheels off, get the car level on some sort of stands, on my jet axle stands or something on this slope. Ooh, a bit dangerous. And then we'll get the oil out of it. Yeah, the battery box comes out pretty easy. It's just got 4 10mm bolts there, and yeah, dead easy to get out. So remove the battery box, and then you're getting down to the gearbox. Okay, so this is what it looks like with the air filter and battery box out, and we're getting down to the transmission now. And you can see there's not a great deal of room to work in there. It's probably different to the Jetta that I've seen on the other videos, where there's not so much room in the front here. I would remove the bumper and the radiators, but already on this Golf I've done this repair with the I don't know if you can see that there. You see I've fitted these resistors, and they're hardwired into the fans, and there is no longer any room to drop that radiator out. Should have put some sort of connector plug on there. That might be the answer. Anyway, as you can see, not a great deal of clearance here between the front. So I'm hoping I can remove that oil cooler pipe. Let's start taking some of this off and see if there's going to be enough room to work. It's really, I think the cable harnesses and things that are sat around the front of this are going to be my problem. I think what I'll do is take this secondary air injector thing out anyway, because that's got a fault code coming up. So let's see if I can work out what's wrong with that. But I think with that out of the way, it's going to be a little bit more easier to do. I'll come back a bit so you can see. So this, I'm going to remove this bracket here, and there's another one on the side which you can see. Where is it? Up there. That one there. Remove that, and hopefully this whole sort of cooler pipe sort of drop out the way a little bit, give me some more room, and start making some room to work in there. Okay folks, here's my plan. So very little room to work in front of here on the Golf. So what I'm going to do is undo the dog bone at the back down there, and I'm going to undo these 3 bolts here off the mounting and suspend the gearbox on a strap. I'm going to put a piece of wood over the engine bay, just use it as a sort of prop, and then I can sort of pull the whole transmission back. Should give me a lot more room to work at the front there. So that's my plan. Let's give it a go. 18mm bolts there, 3 of them. So if they undo those 3, then the gearbox is free. I suppose I could just do this one here, but I'm going to use this, I think, this bracket as the strap. So let's try it. Okay, so I've got the dog bone off. You know, it says I only need to take it off at one side actually, but you know, on the Golf I couldn't do that. It wouldn't drop down. It goes quite back far into there. So I just undid all the bolts, popped it off. Be careful when you do that, because the engine does drop down and swing back actually quite a bit. So you need to support that a bit better on the jack before you remove that main bolt there. Yeah. So now what I'm going to do is take this power steering pipe off. I've removed this here, just to sort of bolts onto the side of the transmission case there. There's another bolt up here, 10mm, which I'm just removing now. See that one there? That's off the front of the valve body case. And there's another one around the side up here, which I've undone. You see that up there? And then hopefully this will just fall out of the way. Let's try. Okay, so once you undo this pipe, you can actually swing it round the side. It's just enough pipe on it to swing it right down under the bottom of the transmission. So now it's starting to look like we've got enough room to work. So I'm going to take all this gubbins off now, make a bit more space, and we'll see if we can get that cover off. Okay, so still removing things off the front of the gearbox here so I can get to things. And one of the things I noticed actually is look how corroded the engine earth point is. That's horrible. And if you see this, also really rusted and, you know, maybe making a little bit of contact, well, not much, but that doesn't look too clever. So it needs a good clean up. I am wondering whether that's the source of my problem, because it's a sporadic sort of a ground feedback error I'm getting. So I was half tempted to put all this back together, clean that up, put it back together and take it for a spin, but you know, it took me so long to get it up on the ramp, so get it flat. But I'm going to proceed and get in here and change that pressure regulating solenoid. I think this could also be something to check. You never know. I guess I'll never know once I replace this solenoid whether it was this or the solenoid, but hey, doesn't look too clever, that, does it? So I think that might also be part of the problem. I'll clean that up anyway. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is give it a good blast out with compressed air, because we don't want any of this dust or anything getting in that transmission. So let's give it a quick blast first and see if we can dislodge any of this muck. Okay, well, I'm getting down to this now. Just about to take off the transmission shift linkage. Bit of kids paint on there, just so I can remember where those bolts were. Bright pink, very nice. You'll notice on mine already the red cap, which should be there, is missing. That's the fluid filler. And next job now is to sort of start taking that off. Now what you'll notice, this thing here is the breather that just pulls off. It says it does pull off. I've done it before. There you go. Keep that, don't lose it. And I can start undoing all of these bolts around. Now I do need to take this off to get to the bolts underneath here. It's going to be in the way, and hopefully there's enough room to sort of start wiggling that out, that cover, and we can get down to it. So actually, first thing I'm going to have to do is drain the oil. Not looking forward to that, but that's the next job. Okay, so I managed to get the cover off. Actually, you know, it came off pretty easy as soon as I split down the seal around the edge. This one's missing a proper gasket. The gearbox shop Must have, last time I had this rebuilt, just used a bit of silicone around it. Cheapskates. Yeah, it came off really easy. What you've got to watch out for, there's a prong on this side of it, and you have to work it around the cable harness there and not snag things. But it actually just dropped down really easily, so yeah, that's job done. There's the view from underneath. You can see there's plenty of room there. What I need to do is change the pressure regulating solenoid, which is that one there, and just gonna have to undo these, I think, these bolts just holding this cable harness, so I can just sort of slide that out of the way. But I'm just going to change the one solenoid because that's the one I think is playing up. It was 35 quid on eBay for one of those. It's an original Mitsubishi I've got, I thought I'd try that first rather than spending £300 on a full set of 9. Let's just try that. So gonna have a go at taking that off now. Okay, so the investigation sort of continues here now, and what I've found is in this gearbox. Can you see this red? Just go here. Can you see the red cable there? That should be secured under that bolt, and as I've removed this cable harness, well, it's just popped out. It wasn't connected to anything. It's doing nothing. So my trusty gearbox shop, I think, has made a bit of an error here and just not connected that back up. So no wonder I've had a bit of a intermittent earthing problem, because things not flipping connected. Anyway, so I'm going to change the solenoid anyway, just in case, get that put back where it should be there, and we'll see. But that's really not very good. I should be having a word with those guys. Okay, so I've now replaced the pressure regulating solenoid there. It's a tricky old thing to get in and out. Actually, the hardest thing is getting this bolt back in, because there's just no room to move, so I had to take this one out above it there, and that really helped, and managed to get it in, and then working out where all the bolts went that I took out. The main thing that was missing on this red wire was not connected around that bolt. That's where it should go. We've just tucked in up there, and here I've found a picture of the old Tinterweb. It shows that red wire connecting to that bolt there, the black wire from the solenoid goes up onto that bolt there. So I've put that back how it should be, and I do think that that was the source of my earth problems in the ECU, which was causing this thing to shift like a mule basically. So let's see when I get this all back together whether we're good to go. I think it will be okay. So now all I need to do is just clean up all of these faces with this horrible mastic. I'm going to put a nice new cork gasket back on that, and then we can get things back together, refill it, and see if we're good. Okay, so I've got my transmission all back together and reassembled the rest of the car, just in the exactly same as reverse. Quite quick to do actually. And this is the auto transmission fluid that I've used to top it up. You can't use bog standard Dexron 3 for this stuff. It's got to be special oil which is suitable for a Jatco gearbox. If you actually do a search, there's a few that are sold in the UK and Europe. I did look this one up. You're looking for the N402 oil, I think it is, and this stuff here, Napa, seems to be quite good. 28 quid for 5 litres from a local car shop. I'm probably just going to use this to flush through, as the smell of the oil that came out to me smelt just like normal Dexron 3. So I think the transmission shop's just put box standard fluid in my box. It came out quite clean actually. But okay, time for a test drive. So going up a fairly long hill here in drive, and let's pull away. First, nice and smooth to second, nice and smooth to third, nice and smooth to fourth, nice and smooth to fifth. I'm going to go Tiptronic now, fifth, Let's go down one. Fourth, lovely smooth change. Third, lovely and smooth. Now I'm going to slow down a bit here. Let's try the change down to second, which was always really rough. Lovely and smooth. Back to third. Again, nice and smooth, that change to third. I'm going to go back to second now. Very smooth. And back to third. That's first I put it in. Wrong way. You don't want to do that when you're doing 40 miles an hour. Let's go back and drive. That feels beautiful. What a difference. So looks like this transmission is now super smooth, driving very nicely. So the fault in this transmission, I'm absolutely sure, was the missing earth cable, the earth wire, which the transmission shop down in Newbury had forgotten to secure, and that, I think, has been the cause of all the problems in this car. And I'm going to check the DTMs in it now. Let's have a look, see if there's any codes, firstly in the engine. Probably going to give me again the lambda probe error. Although there's no mill lights on at the moment, so maybe okay. No codes, wonderful. And let's go in the auto transmission. See if there's any codes here. Wonderful. So I've now got a clean set of DTMs, no codes on the engine, no codes on the gearbox. That's absolutely wonderful. So it looks like this transmission is finally sorted out, so that's just brilliant. We were going to scrap this car. It was just undrivable with that problem. Really violent gear changes, and may have, you know, I'm hoping it's not caused any mechanical damage to the actual gearbox, because it's been like that for 18 months or so. But now we're all good. The car's back together, working fine.